Welcome to Spoken Injustice, where we put the criminal justice system in the dock. This episode is part of our news session. Today, we wanted to remember two victims of the criminal justice system who recently have passed away, Mrs. Veronica Maye and Mr. Hugh Callagham. On the 17th of May, Sir William of the Post Office Inquiry announced that Mrs. Veronica Maye, wife of Sub-Postmaster Francis Maye, died aged 67 on the 10th of May. In his statement dated the 7th of January 22, which was read at the Post Office Inquiry on the 11th of May 2023, Mr. Francis Maye described how he and his wife Veronica moved from Ireland to the UK in 2001 when they acquired a post office branch. They saw this as an opportunity to ease comfortably into retirement. Also, Mr. Maye was looking forward to being a pillar of the community as a sub-postmaster. Instead, he said, their lives changed dramatically as a result of this decision. He said problems with the Horizon system occurred throughout his tenure. He often stayed up all night trying to figure out the problem causing shortfalls in the system. He had to pay for them, leaving him unable at times to pay for food and household bills. His wife suffered a stress-related heart attack in 2003. By 2010, he was forced to resign, had to sell the branch at a significant undervalue to pay for shortfalls that were created by a faulty system. He and his wife lost their house and were made bankrupt. He said he felt isolated and marginalized, and though he had nothing to hide because he hadn't done anything wrong, he was left with no alternative but to resign and move from the area. Mr. and Mrs. Maye both developed stress-related disease as a result. Mr. Maye said being a postmaster was not just a job but a vocation for me. I loved looking after the community and was looking forward to spending the rest of my working days as a postmaster, a pillar of the community. This was all taken away from me by the post office action, and I will never get it back. Truly heartbreaking. If you want to know more about the post office scandal, we covered it in a previous video, which you can find by clicking in the link appearing now here above in the corner. Before I move on to the second part of our news, I would be grateful if you could hit the like button, and if you have not done so yet, subscribe to enable us to grow this channel so that we can continue keeping you updated with news related to the criminal justice system failures. Going back to our news, sadly, we also remember today Mr. Hugh Callagham, one of the Birmingham Six who passed away on the 27th of May. We covered the Birmingham Six case in our video dedicated to Nan Sarah Clark, which you can find by clicking on the link somewhere here on the screen. Mr. Callagham was convicted together with 5 others of 2 bomb explosions that occurred in Birmingham in November 1974 and was sentenced to life imprisonment. He spent 16 years in prison and was released on appeal in 1991 following numerous campaigns, as evidence given in court in relation to traces of explosions said to have been found on the men was completely discredited. Recently, he told the press that what kept him going in prison was music. He said that though there was nothing to sing about in prison, he couldn't help it. He joined the choir and sang Danny Boy for the governor, bringing tears to her eyes. Sally Mulready, the director of the Irish Elderly Advice Network and close friends of Mr. Callagham, said he was a gentle soul. He spent 16 years in prison for something he did not do. He told me recently that hardly a day went by that he didn't think of it. He was a man with astonishing strength of character. Despite the profound injustice he endured, he was not bitter or angry, but joyful and always ready to sing. She added, "We will continue to try and live the values of forgiveness and gentle optimism that Hugh taught us." Spoken Injustice deepest condolences go to Mrs. Maye and Mr. Callagham's families and friends. Though at first glance each suffered by the action of the post office and the police respectively, ultimately we consider them both as victims of the criminal justice system. It is clear that the criminal justice system is not fit for purpose if issues of this magnitude cannot be spotted at a trial which should be designed to do exactly that. Join us again next time when we discuss whether jury trials are worth keeping or ditching. You can also join our networking hub at spokeninjustice.net to actively participate in the debate of the most recurrent issues in the quest for justice. We look forward to usher you as we sit and rise in this unique trial.